All right, BCW faithful and first-time viewers, welcome to The Curtain Call, a weekly pro wrestling show that gets you up to speed with everything going on in the world of Combination Wrestling. If you haven't done so already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe below and follow BCW on all social media platforms. And if you're wondering who this ruggedly handsome individual is with these melodious tones hyping right through your speakerphone, I am your host, the host that covers the most, Jimmy J. And now that I got myself got that out of the way, we can talk BCW. And, well, first and foremost, I want to wish all of you guys and girls, all the faithful and the first-time viewers, well right now. During this time of crisis, yes, the pandemic pandemonium is still going on. We are in the middle of some unprecedented times, but I assure you, things will get better. And once they do, BCW, we got a lot in store for each and every one of you. Now, last week, I sat down on an exclusive shoot interview with Mr. Darius Carter, and it sparked, a lot of feedback. And there was a lot of individuals, guys and girls, a lot of talent that wanted to jump on board and have an interview on The Curtain Call. And this week, I couldn't think of a better guest than Mr. Darius Carter's last opponent at the Queen of the North 2, the Gladiator of the Geeks, Riley Shepard. Riley is doing well. I sat down with her via Zoom. And, well, you know what? I'm not even going to talk about it. I want to let the interview speak for itself. So, without further ado, grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite drink, and sit down and enjoy this interview with the Gladiator of the Geeks, Riley Shepard. All right, faithful, this week I am joined by a very special guest. Her name, well, she is the Gladiator of the Geeks, the voice of the voiceless, Riley Shepard. Riley, how are you?
I'm good. It's nice to see a familiar face from my BCW home that I haven't seen in a while.
How you been holding up in this pandemic pandemonium going on out here?
I'm doing pretty well. I luckily am a geek, so I have a lot of video games, a lot of books to hold me over for a little bit, but I miss wrestling. I think all of us miss wrestling like a lot. So that's the biggest part.
Absolutely. What books? What books and games? What are you playing? What are you reading?
Well, I am right now, I was doing Zelda, but I got to the Banana Men who are really hard, and I had to put it down. Sometimes you gotta take a step back and be like, all right, we'll regroup later. So now I'm playing Animal Crossing, and then I read every night, so it's just kind of whatever tickles my fancy. It tends to be sci-fi. I don't really have a particular book that I'm doing right now.
Sci-fi. Is that also your favorite movie genre?
Yeah, it's my favorite everything. When you talk about geek, that's my geekdom. I'm not a math nerd or a science nerd. I am very literature book nerd and very sci-fi geek.
So what movies? What are we talking about here? Like Terminator?
Or, oh God, you're gonna kill me because I've never seen Terminator.
Oh, I'm leaving. That's a good conversation. So.
Actually, there's a lot of movies that you would think I would have seen, like Back to the Future, or Karate Kid, or Rocky, and I've actually never seen any of them.
You never seen? Wait, hold on. Oh wow, this is a travesty, right? Wait, you never seen Rocky?
No, actually, my coach, Damian Adams, gave me homework over the quarantine to watch Rocky. Literally, he texted me, he's like, yeah, you need to watch this. So that's on my agenda to do, is to watch Rocky. But I was grounded a lot growing up, so the TV and movies kind of were taken away from me, which is why I'm a book nerd, because what I was allowed to have were my books.
Were you a bad child? I mean, what did you do?
I just was not a school person unless it was something that I really enjoyed. Like when I did vocational school for criminal justice, I got all A's because it was something I enjoyed learning about. And I was able to put my head to the books and enjoy every part of it. But if it wasn't something that I really loved, like math or science, I didn't do so great with grades. And not like horrible, like C's. and I'd be grounded. um, but that's how my parents did it, is they would take away all electronics. But I always had books around me, so that's always how. So that's why my normal is every day I read something.
Hey, listen, that's a great hobby to have, honestly, man. You know, you read, you get smarter. And going back to something you said criminal justice.
Yes.
What did you, what did you do before wrestling? Or are you still doing something with criminal justice?
Yeah, so when I was 15, I decided I wanted to be a police officer. And I ended up going to vocational school for it for 2 years. I went to college for criminal justice and sociology. And then I became a 911 dispatcher for about 7 years and a police officer for about 2. And then I quit. And
wait, hold on. You quit?
I did.
Completely?
Yeah, I did. Nothing against policing or anything like that. And I have so many friends who are still police officers, and especially now when they're essential employees and dealing with all the craziness that's going on right now. It's a tough job. It really is. And I give kudos to them. And I always think about them in this, but it wasn't something that ended up fitting me after 10 years of going after this goal single-mindedly. Like,
so, 10 years of school and say, you know what? Nah, that's all right. You know, but that's awesome. I didn't even know. Well, now that you mention it, I don't know if you got those connections. I got a couple tickets. I need some. We'll talk off there about that. I don't know. But wow, I didn't even know that, man. Listen, I give you a lot of credit. I did EMS for about 7 years.
Oh, nice.
Being EMT, I got hurt in the job. Long story short, but you guys, man, we were like we were like ham and cheese. We were like peanut butter and jelly. EMS and PD.
We went together like this.
Yeah, you know exactly. I didn't even know. Sure. So, your job extremely hard. I give you a lot of credit for doing that. And what made you make the switch? Like,
so I wasn't happy as a police officer. It was more that I got into policing for maybe more of the social work aspect of it. I felt most comfortable helping people when they were in situations of like domestic violence or sexual assault, or acute psychiatric, things like that. I felt when you needed an officer to go there to listen and just to help you was where I felt most comfortable and where I felt like this is home. I'm helping people. Unfortunately, law enforcement has the word enforcement in it, and it tends to be enforcement about like 85% of the time. And weirdly, I didn't enjoy that part of it. So at that time when I was feeling like I was not happy with it and I was trying to figure out maybe I need to do something with social work, DVRT, which is a domestic violence response team, I found wrestling because unlike a lot of other people, I didn't watch it growing up. I started watching it when I was like 25.
Really?
Yeah.
What got you? Who did it for you? What said, you know what? I want to get in that ring.
So it was watching NXT and the Four Horsewomen that got me past the whole watching as a fan phase into, okay, I need to do this. And I was a gymnast for about 11 years. So I've always kind of been athletic. I was doing boxing. I was trying to become a trainer for Body Combat, which is a cardio boxing class. So I always kind of had that vein in me of being athletic and I've thought about MMA, but I didn't really take that path. And then I fell in love with wrestling, not just for the athletic part of it, but for the storytelling part of it, and the artistry. Yeah. So I was watching a takeover with Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
In 2015, I think that was.
Years back, yeah.
Yeah. Back when they were still having it like in their they were not big venues. But Becky was kind of the first woman who I identified as wrestler. They were trying to stray away from the diva era, which the Gladiator of the Geeks kind of doesn't really fit into as much as I am so grateful for the foundation they laid. The Gladiator of the Geeks would have been able to do the diva.
I can't see it. Like, no, definitely not.
No, ask me to be sexy. I'm like,
yeah, that's not.
What I do with these?
No, I see you like a warrior. You know, you're a fighter.
Well, Yeah, that's I've always kind of been a fighter, whether it's me wanting to be a police officer, single-mindedly fighting for that, or literally fighting against people who bullied other people, which is a very big thing to me because it's something from my past. I've always been a fighter, and that kind of translates pretty well to pro wrestling.
In your past, you got bullied?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Really?
the whole nerd thing. I guess it's maybe a little cooler now, or maybe we're more mature in the fact that we're okay with ourselves being geeks or nerds. But when you're growing up in like middle school, it's not as cool. And so I got bullied a lot for it. It was probably like 3 years of really, really bad bullying. It was on the school bus. And I didn't say anything for quite a few years, and then the bullies ended up turning on another girl who came onto the bus and was a year younger than me, and luckily she had a voice and told her brother, who then went to the principal. But at that time, I wasn't fighting for anyone, let alone myself.
3 years.
And yeah, it was like 3 years. There were a couple points where they'd kind of taper off and forget about me. I was quiet enough where they left me alone. But it sucks. The bus, there's like one adult and they're driving, so they're not really. No. So, and at that point, I wasn't standing up for myself. And I did actually tell an adult the first time around. I told my parents about it, and they went to like the kid's parents, and then they pulled the kid out of school, and so his friends got worse. So for me, my brain went like, don't say anything because it's gonna get worse again. But yeah, think that was kind of a life lesson for me of, okay, you need to use your voice, not just for yourself but for other people, because my friend who went to her brother, she used her voice, and that finally fixed things. And so I'm like, I'm never going to be in this position again, and I'm not going to let anyone else be in this position again, which is my whole stand for the silent, because I was silent for a few years.
Yeah.
And I won't do it again.
That's the advice you would give to anybody being bullied right now, is just, speak up.
Oh yeah. It's easier said than done.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it's more find support, not so much like speak up to the bully, because I tried at one point to speak up to the bullies, and I ended up literally getting slapped across the face at one point by the bullies, because I tried to do it. I tried to be like, oh, I'm cool, don't pick on me, and that's what ended up happening. So not so much like stand up for yourself, try and find support, whether it's in a teacher, there was a police officer who was in my high school who would have been a good thing to have when I was in middle school, who I talked to, parents, friends. Like I didn't even tell my friends about it because I was so ashamed of it. So you have supportive people around you, and use them, because you're going through this thing, you need to talk it out. But two, you don't know what other people are going through. Maybe they'll be like, hey, I'm going through this too. What can we do about it? So find a support system, and hopefully eventually that will lead to you finding the courage to stand up, or finding the courage to reach out to someone who can fix it for you.
Yeah, it's terrible. I see things on the news, kids, it does something to you mentally too. I knew a couple people that, emotionally, even to this day, like emotionally scarred, like really bad. Like it affects them mentally, and it's something that has to be stopped. And it's easier said than done. When you're on those school buses, like you said, you have one person, you get the driver, and then one teacher or somebody watching, and they can't watch everybody.
We had one bus driver, and that was it. And it was a full-size bus. So like she had to. Our safety was in getting us safely to school. So yeah.
There's one individual that I guess we can call him a bully. Okay.
You guess.
Guess. Let's just call it. With all due respect, Mr. Darius Carter, the biggest bully of them all, apparently in BCW right now. I've had a conversation with him last week. We talked about being unsafe. Okay, and it was a shoot interview or whatnot, but there was a moment where you and him got an altercation. It was Queen of the North, I believe, the first Queen of the North, and he had kicked, your knee pretty much almost. Your knee was, I think, prior. It was a little injury on that knee beforehand, but he just sent it over to the next level. Can you speak about this moment? And because this had to be something special to you. It was Queen of the North. You wanted to get in the ring, and he kind of took everything away from you. What was going through your head after he assaulted you, pretty much, and attacked your knee?
There was actually an interview right after he did it that I did with the Shot of Wrestling, and I was so close to tears. I did injure it the prior week at New York Championship Wrestling, but it was kind of one of those things where I wasn't sure the extent of it. I was still able to move around on it. I was still able to wrestle. I was still cleared to wrestle. And then when Darius Carter got into the ring, called me into the ring, because we had been going back and forth on social media, because he tends to have a bit of an ego. And I know I respectfully will say he is the heavyweight champion. He has defended successfully quite a few times. So I give him respect in that aspect, but I do not respect him as a person. And at that point, and what made that clear was on social media when we were talking about Queen of the North, and he was over here crying and quibbling about how his face wasn't on the poster, which for me, when women wrestlers are trying so hard to fight to get into the limelight at all, to even sometimes have even 1 or 2 matches on a normal card, and here's the show that's all about women and celebrating very strong, fierce women, and here's the heavyweight champion who should be supportive of that, just making it about him. And so once again, goes back to the whole I will never be silent again. I wasn't going to be silent about that. And so he called me into the ring. He threw a mic at my face, which distracted me, and then kicked my already pre-injured, sort of not quite there, knee out. And I couldn't put weight on it. It just it swelled up. I knew there was something that whatever had happened the week before, it was way, way worse. And a Shot of Wrestling did that interview, and I wanted to cry. I wasn't gonna give him the satisfaction of my tears, but the fact that I couldn't be on this all women's show that I was excited for months, that had amazing women like Kimberly and LuFisto and Chris Statlander, a bunch of names, I couldn't be on it, and it's because of him.
Well, 1 year later, you fast forward, okay, you were on it, and you met him face to face in that ring, and I got to tell you talk about standing up for yourself and others, you did just that after he put his hands on you. Man, you gave him a beat, be very blunt, and in the middle of the ring, it was a melee, and I have never seen you like that. Like, you had this animosity that was built inside of you for that whole year, okay, and you let it out. And it led to a championship opportunity at the end of the night against Mr. Carter. I mean, how did that feel? I'm just getting your hands on him. Just getting some retribution. I mean, I can tell you, it was a
I know he's actually commented on my Facebook today because I posted a picture, a throwback picture to me, missile drop kicking him across the ring. And he said, I gave you the best moments of your career, which for once, I actually agreed with him because I had been waiting an entire year just to punch him in his smug face. Like, just an entire year. I was not allowed to touch him. I was not clear. And he kept getting in my face, and not even just getting in my face talking crap. He shoved his belt in my face. He pie-faced me, and it was all because he thought I couldn't retaliate. So that's what bullies are. They are either someone who had a troubled past and haven't quite come to terms with it, or someone who's a coward. And in Darius Carter's case, he was being cowardly towards me. He knew I couldn't retaliate. He started talking crap again at Queen of the North. He told me stand up, draw attention to me, but unfortunately for him, he didn't realize I was clear. And then I got to punch him in his face.
Yeah, I seen the anger, but afterwards I felt it too, and the whole crowd felt it. Like, you finally got your revenge, and you didn't come out ultimately victorious, but I think you were a winner at the end of the night. Okay, because you were not only over with everybody in there, but you know what, Carter scrambling out of there. You shared the ring, I think, with Nia Kennedy as well.
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of that ring, and I was looking at that, I'm like, wow, this is not the last. I felt it too. It's not the last that we're going to see of you, Riley, in the ring with maybe Carter. Imagine this. Imagine you beating Carter and becoming the world champion for the men's world championship. What would that be like to you?
Oh,
Imagine that, holding the men's world championship. I mean,
that is such a step forward, not even for women wrestlers, but also for people like me who have been bullied and who have dealt with this. And like you said, I did ultimately lose, but for me, from someone of my past who for years stayed silent and didn't stand up for herself, and now to literally not only stand up for herself, but I went toe to toe with a heavyweight champion, and I gave as good as I got. Like, my voice was completely shot because I was screaming, because that's how much everything was boiling out of me, and I was bloodied, I was bruised. The next day I woke up, I was stiff as a board and I had no voice, and I just smiled because this time he didn't break me. A year ago he broke me. A year ago he stole 10 months from my career, literally 10 months of my career, and he didn't break me this time. Yeah, I didn't win, but in my heart of hearts I won for the Riley Shepard from middle school who couldn't stand up for herself, and that was what it meant to me.
hey, listen, I'll tell you what, you won in my eyes. It was an incredible match. And I think of it, which I have to remind you, you have to go back and watch Rocky, because what you just said there was a Rocky moment. Rocky won. He didn't win at the end of it, but it was like he won. And that's
Spoilers, man!
Listen, don't worry about it.
I knew that. I knew it.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then Creed. So there's a lot more to come. I didn't spoil those, but you got to go back, watch that. And you talk about it took 10 months off of your career, but very interesting because you were on commentary, and I heard you when I was watching some of those matches back. Did you have any prior experience on commentary?
No, I mean, I was a 911 dispatcher. If you want to count that, I guess I was on the phone a lot with emergencies. But no, not actual commentary. No.
No, but it sounded like you did, though. I gotta give you credit. I thought it was very interesting to hear you on the mic, and it mixed well in with AJ and Pete. Like you guys complimented each other. So hey, God forbid anything like this ever happens again, you got a spot on that commentary table. Would that be something even down the line you would even consider, even when you retire or something like that?
I mean, even now, I'd love to still be able to do guest commentary. I did enjoy it way more than I thought I would. I give kudos to Pete and AJ and anyone who does commentary, because it's not within my realm of skills normally. And I'm so grateful for BCW and a bunch of other promotions that did allow me to do commentary as well, to work on that skill. But being able to be with AJ and Pete, who they literally bounce off each other so seamlessly. And then I was like, hi, over here. But the fact that, I mean, that's a great compliment that you just gave me, that it worked well with the three of us and I meshed with them, because I just wanted to do BCW proud for still keeping me around, even though I was hurt for 10 months. I didn't want to disappoint anyone. So I would definitely still do it. And maybe if there's a future for that, that'd be really cool too. Anything with pro wrestling in the future, I would be so happy to do.
Hey, I got to tell you, it's more than just an organization over here at BCW. It's a family. And that's what we're trying to make it, like a family environment, the camaraderie. You always have a spot with us at BCW. We love you over here. And I can't wait. I can't wait for things to start picking up again. The next show to happen. I'm excited. It's like right now, tell everybody, you have to plan, because this is going to pass, and when it does, you have to just execute everything that you had planned. Do you have any plans that you're working on right now for when this passes?
Oh, for sure. Especially at BCW right now. There's a lot of things coming up with the women's division. Faye having to relinquish, and now Vanity being a champion as of Queen of the North. That was the last show we had because they got canceled. So right now everything's a little up in the air to see what Vanity's going to do with the championship and how her reign is going to be. And I'm going to want a part of that. But we have her, we have Vicious Vicky, AJ just brought in Ray Lynn and Brandy Lee. So I am ready to go to battle with anyone and everyone, specifically in the women's division because it's starting to build up now. But generally, everyone. Don't care about gender. Don't care about size. I'm planning on
Who you have
battling.
your eyes on though? Or like right now, who do you want to step in the ring? Maybe that you even have never stepped in the ring with. Is there anybody in particular?
I want to face Raylan very, very much so. Now that AJ brought her in, I had a past a little bit with Tasha Steeles, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to go toe to toe with her after she also had a little bit of a hand in my knee injury and the surgery. But he has new clients, so of course that means I couldn't face his old client. I want to face his new client. So that's definitely one. And of course, I want to face Vanity. She has the shiny. I want the shiny.
Hey, listen, if you're not in this business to be the best, why are you in this business?
Exactly.
That's what I live by. And Vanity. It's funny because she got the belt. She won it. I am waiting to see what she's going to do with it. I don't know who. I think she was scheduled to face Shaza McKenzie.
Yes,
which interesting match.
Oh my goodness. I wish we could have seen that, and hopefully maybe in the future we can. Maybe whether she's facing Vanity, I want to see it. If I get to face her, I'd love that too. So I'd love her to come back to BCW.
Oh yeah, no, that's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of when. It's not even if. And that's gonna be a very interesting match. Vanity's showing this new side to her right now, but I know everybody's hungry right now and everybody's feeling this right now. So I know when we come back, competition is gonna be real in that ring. And, I can't wait to see who they bring in as well. Because, there's always some surprises.
Oh, yeah.
You never know what to expect. Or anything can happen. And that brings me to another question for you. Is there anybody outside of BCW, any dream match, anybody that you want to work with that's out there in the world of wrestling right now that you want to step in that ring with?
Yes, for sure. And it's actually two women who have both been at BCW, but they happen to be at the Queen of the North that I couldn't compete at, and then the last Queen of the North. So Kimberly, I would love to go toe to toe with her, and Chris Statlander. I actually tagged with her at the Levac against Sea Stars, but I've never been able to go toe to toe with her. She wasn't very nice during that match. Yeah. She kind of bullied me a little, so I would love to face her one-on-one.
Hey, listen, that's something that might come to fruition. I mean, that would be an interesting match. You and Chris.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I could see it. Like, Gladiator the Geeks versus, she's like in outer space. Like, her whole gimmick is...
Galaxy's greatest, Stanley.
Galaxy's greatest, exactly. So that's something that we can see happen. It'll be like Star Wars in the ring.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
And I have a sword, so come on.
I can see a gimmick match happening. I can see a gimmick match happen, like a lightsaber match or sword. Like, I don't know. I would see something like that happen.
I'm up for it. I'm literally up to fight. At this point, I spent 10 months being on the shelf because of my injury. I came back for 1 month.
God.
And then this all happened. So I'm like, I made sure after 10 months that I was ready to go, that I wouldn't miss a step, that you watched me wrestle and you just asked yourself, wait a second. She was injured because she doesn't look injured. Like, I didn't want to miss a step. And that's the same thing going forward. Once we come back, I am going full force and taking off.
Yeah, I seen it. It's true. After 10 months, I mean, it didn't look like you skipped a beat. How did you feel, though, when you stepped in the ring, actually? Did you feel a little... I know you had to be a little nervous about it, but, did you feel like you delivered like you wanted to deliver? Or maybe you could have did something different?
I am insanely proud of my first night back. I think a lot of my nerves were taken over by anger and frustration from the year that was pent up against Darius. And so all the nerves kind of got pushed back because of those feelings coming to the forefront, which probably helps me a bit. But I've had the first month back, especially at NYCW where the injury happened, there were complete nerves because that's the ring where it started and then it kind of continued. So I had nerves about my knee not being able to keep up just because of, that superstition.
Yeah.
but it did rather well.
Yeah.
In every match that I've been, it's kept up, and I thank my physical therapist because he literally told me something before he released me. Said, "You're not injured anymore, so don't act injured."
Yeah, stop it. Get it out of your head. You're not injured. You're good to go. I mean, you didn't
Yeah.
look injured at all. You didn't look like you just took 10 months off. Okay. It was
No,
a phenomenal match. And
thank
you
you.
know, I wish, and matter of fact, after I come off of this interview with you, I just want to watch it back. And I urge everybody out there to do the same thing. Go watch it back. It's on Title Match. It's on even the BCW YouTube channel, I believe. Riley Shepard, Darius Carter, Queen of the North 2. It's also on Fight TV. I don't know if you know this. We're on Fight.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think I did know that. Yeah, I did recently. That just happened, right? Yes.
recently we went on Fight TV, and hopefully we can stay there too. It's more promotion for the whole company. You know,
Yeah, for
as a
sure.
whole.
Get more eyes on us.
We were on a roll. You know, I
Mhm.
felt like there was so much momentum, and there was a little bumps in the road with what happened at Christmas with a Vengeance and things
Yeah.
canceled. Then we went to the North, but that anniversary show was going to be so good, and then this happened. But I think everything happens for a reason. I think right now we need to think of the positives, and we need to just plan and get ourselves ready to go, because once it's go time, it's going to be go time. I can't wait. In the meantime, what is Riley Shepard up to? I mean, we can't do anything else out there. I mean, all the fans, maybe they want to know. They're clamoring over here. Riley, what have you been doing with yourself? Like just reading and watching movies?
Yeah. So not movies, books. Remember, always granted, books. I do have to watch more movies actually. But yeah, I do have video games. I do have books. I'm still working out. I have at-home workouts that I do because when I come back, I don't want that to be a hurdle that I need to get over. That was the same thing when I had my ACL injury. I wanted to make sure the rest of my body was in tip-top shape. So I'm still doing that. I do have a personal trainer who I work out with twice a week in her apartment. Literally, it's me and her. There's no group.
That's
So
good.
it's nice. Yeah, so I'm doing that. I'm actually looking into which this downtime is giving me a lot of time to figure out something to do also outside of wrestling. I'm looking into volunteering for suicide prevention hotline because especially now with everything going on and people being stuck indoors, it's really hard sometimes to cope with that. So I'd love to be able to help in the meantime since I can't wrestle and fight for them that way. Maybe I can help on a hotline.
Man, that's awesome. I commend you for that, because there's a lot of people out here that are suffering now, and then they're going to be suffering even afterwards. I mean, you got to think about it also. Even the slightest thing, like our whole life is like changing now, because we're going to be more conscious of everything that we're touching. We're gonna develop anxiety from this. I feel like, if some of us already have it. I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say we haven't already.
yeah, I know exactly. I got a routine. I don't know what your routine is when you step outside, then you come back. I got this routine. I step in, okay, I have to immediately wash my hands, put on the gloves, Lysol or clean down whatever I bought in, the doorknob, everything. It's just this whole routine that you never had to do before. I mean,
Yeah, wipe down your phone
yeah,
because you touched that while you're out. While you were out in the world, make sure to do all that. For me, I have a purse, so I'm like wiping down the handles of that because that's getting touched all the time. But yeah, same thing. It hopefully our fears will slowly dissipate, but we'll still think about hygiene, which is good.
I mean, we should.
Not to this level.
I think I took a shower today. I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh, I certainly did. You can't smell me through your computer, but I smell lovely.
What is that? I did something coming through there. I don't know. I mean, listen, I took a shower too. Irish Spring, you might smell through the computer there.
Oh, nice.
Everybody wondering, Jimmy J's brand. But yeah, I tell you, Riley, I'm happy to be alive, even though this whole thing is going on. You got to think positive, and I know that once, like I said, this is all over, we're gonna be kicking it back in that ring, and I can't wait. I can't wait. Is there any last words, any last thoughts, anything that you want to say to the fans out there, or to anybody in general? The floor is yours.
Just try to do the best you can every day. Try to wake up and make a schedule for you to be productive, because I know that's a big part of this is you're out of your norm, and we're so habitual as human beings that now that we don't have that normal habit day, you got to make a new habit for now. So just try and do that. I wrote down hour by hour of what I plan to do for the week, and I try to stick to that. If I go off course, I go off course a little bit, but that has kept me on track. And we'll be able to see each other soon for sure, and hopefully sooner rather than later. But when we're back, we'll be ready to go.
Oh yeah, that's it. I'm telling you right now, I can't wait. I know it's going to happen. It's sometime soon. Hopefully, like I said, sooner than later. Where can they find you? I mean, we know you're here on Earth, but you're all around. You're omnipresent. Okay, I feel like Riley.
Sometimes you can't escape me.
That's it.
I feel like Darius feels that way now, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I see you.
Which is good. He should know he can't escape.
Yeah, he's like, I can't get rid of it. She all over Twitter, all over social media. You just keep giving it to him. Even when we're not running a full-time schedule, just the car. Oh man, I mean, listen, I'm probably gonna get chewed out for that one. Okay, Darius is gonna hear that. Jimmy, I told you on myself. Listen, I'm impartial. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be impartial. There's a lot of personalities in BCW, and unfortunately, or fortunately, you do have to interview all of us. So it's better to be impartial. You can find me on social media at the Riley Shepard. I am on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter there. I also have a website, RileyShepard.com, where I post any of my matches that have the links or any photos. I'm hoping to put an upcoming calendar and merch there. Also, I sell shirts through What a Maneuver. So I think it's What a Maneuver / Riley Shepard, or if you just Google What a Maneuver Riley Shepard, it'll pop up. And then just hit me up if you want 8x10s or pins at this time when we have downtime. I have time.
Get some merch. Stop. I see you. You cheap bastards out there. You better buy something, okay? I'm getting.
And my pins are not only cute, they grant +3 willpower. So to get you through these days.
Riley's the voice to the voiceless, okay? She's the gladiator of the geeks. All geeks out there, okay?
All geeks.
Just get something, even if it's a pin. Something. Support her because she supports everybody out there. Okay, and listen,
I love you all.
I'm buying. I'm getting something here. I'm a geek on the low.
Yes. It doesn't. You don't have to be a sci-fi geek. It's whatever makes you. That's what I say. Geekdom is whatever makes you passionate. Whatever fills your heart.
Hey, listen. They call us geeks because we love wrestling, and that's another thing. But guess what? Wrestling brings us together, and that's one thing in Shadow Wrestling. And they had that saying a long time. I'm representing them as well.
Yes, I see your pins. You like pins.
I believe I'm going to have the other one. I'm telling you, I'm going to have Riley Shepard pin. Next time you see me, I'm going to have the Riley Shepard pin on this side. I got you, Riley. All right. Great. It was great talking to you. Great to see a familiar face like you said as well.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. And like you said, it's nice to see and hear a voice that it's been a little bit of a while, but it brings me back home because BCW is one of my homes.
It's home. It's home, Riley.
You know, you just don't know somebody until you talk to that person. And, man, I had no clue Riley Shepard's backstory. The fact that she was bullied as a kid, found that support system, and now she's trying to help others who were getting bullied. The fact that she was a cop and just quit her career cold turkey to follow her dreams of becoming a pro wrestler. And Riley, you know, like I said before, I do have some tickets over here. We're going to talk off air about that. But, I mean, she's so resilient. She gets put on the shelf for 10 months due to a knee injury, largely in part to Darius Carter. Comes back, and I might add, during that time, did commentary and did one hell of a job on commentary. Comes back, gets some revenge on Mr. Carter. Looks like she never missed a beat, and now the whole world is on pause because of this pandemic, and I am damn sure once we come back, she's going to look like she has not missed a beat again, because that's the kind of talent, folks. That is the kind of talent that we have over here at BCW. We have premier talent, and not only talent, but we have premier fans, and that is exactly why we have added a segment to this show, to the curtain call, called 5 Minutes of Faith with the Faithful. And this week, this week, a special guest, Mr. Joey Sweet Cheeks. Joe, you got 5 minutes. The floor is yours.
All right, folks, it's time once again. BCW 5 Minutes of Faith with the Faithful. And today,
Another special guest right here, Joey, Sweet Cheeks. Joey, what's happening, buddy? How you
Not
doing?
too much there, Jimmy J. How you doing?
Man, I couldn't be better in this crazy time right now because I'm speaking to you, Joe. How's everything going, man? How's everything? How's life nowadays in 2020 with this pandemic going on?
It's crazy, but, I'm out there trying to stay sane, keep myself entertained, watching as much wrestling as I possibly can. Just like you and everybody else who are big wrestling fans. Didn't enjoy watching WrestleMania the last 2 days. WrestleMania 36, 2 days.
2 days in a row, man. What'd you think of WrestleMania 36, man?
I actually thought it was very interesting, and I was actually going to make that part of my 5 minutes to compare it to another WrestleMania from years ago that you hardly hear people talk about. Because you got WrestleMania 36.
Okay.
Had to be held in the arena with just the wrestlers, no fans, set the indoor attendance record both days of 0 people. And thinking of that while I was watching both days, it kind of brought me back to something that they had originally did going back 34 years to WrestleMania 2, where they held it in 3 different places, Long Island, New York, Chicago, Illinois, and I believe Los Angeles, where it was in 3 different places at the same time. And you haven't seen something that different with the WrestleMania done set in 34 years since WrestleMania 2. But it's weird but interesting for both ends of what happened this year. We can understand the pandemic, Corona, not wanting to see people become deathly sick or anything. Yeah. But then if you go back 34 years to WrestleMania 2, you got 3 different places, 3 different main events, 3 different shows, a whole bunch of celebrities there going down the line at WrestleMania 2, like Elvira, Susan St. James from, I believe it was Kate and Allie in the 80s.
It was
Ricky
awesome.
Schroeder from Silver Spoons, the old lady from the Where's the Beef commercials.
Where's
from
the beef? No, I'm glad you made that comparison, Joey. I'm glad because it was similar. It was obviously, there was an audience, but I understand how you compared those two. WrestleMania 2 is one of those almost forgotten WrestleManias. It seems like
people I've talked to about it. I've told them like WrestleMania 2 is in a way the forgotten WrestleMania because you talk about the first WrestleMania which started it all in '85. You got WrestleMania 9, which is the first outdoor WrestleMania. Yep. WrestleMania 10 years in. 25, the 25th anniversary of it. All that. And 2 is kind of the forgotten WrestleMania where they had done it in 3 different places. Because with Long Island, the main event was, I believe, the British Bulldogs against the Dream Team of Brutus Beefcake and Greg Valentine for the tag titles.
Yep.
Then in Chicago, you had the NFL football player wrestler battle royal run by Andre. Yep. And then in LA, you had the steel cage match with the title, Hulk versus King Kong Bundy in that massive old school blue cage that looks like something you'd now see on a playground in a park.
Dude, I want them to bring that cage back just for like one night only, or like old school Raw or something.
Exactly. Do like even if it's like Elimination Chamber next year, and they do something with like the Elimination Chamber, just put the roof on top of that. If they could fix it up, put the Elimination Chamber on that old blue cage.
Dude,
or
that would
just
be
do
awesome.
An old cage match pay-per-view.
Yeah, dude, that would be awesome, man. I want to see that old cage, that old blue steel cage come back. And fun fact, I don't know if you know this, King Kong Bundy, okay, were you a fan of Al Bundy, Married with Children?
Yes, I watched it. He had played Al Bundy's cousin on Married with Children. And then on another episode, like a year or 2 later, he had come back and played one of Peggy's cousins from the Wanker family. Yeah. So he played a cousin on each side of the family.
Dude, yeah, and you know that the writer of Married with Children, or I think it was the writer or producer, he was a huge wrestling fan. That's why
they brought King Kong Bundy in.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, that's awesome, man. And, WrestleMania 2, all the way to now, you fast forward to WrestleMania 36, the show must go on. And that is why I enjoyed the fact that WWE did this. A lot of people didn't enjoy that fact. of having a show during this whole pandemic. But it gave us an opportunity to get our minds off of everything that's going on. And aside from WWE right now, because this is BCW, Curtain Call, is there anything that you want to get off your mind or your chest about BCW or an independent wrestling organization in general? Anything that you want to get out there in the universe? Now's the time. The floor is still yours. You got about a minute left here, Joe.
I was going to say, as I love BCW, been to a bunch of BCW shows since like January of 2018. One thing, I wish they would do more shows in like the Queens, Brooklyn, Long Island area instead of more towards the Bronx. But I understand, that's where they're based, so... Actually,
we're out in Jersey now. We're in North Bergen. I believe North Bergen, Jersey. That's where we're going to be located for, the remaining events of whatever's left of this year after this pandemic is... After we come back to normal, yeah, we're out in Jersey. It's a phenomenal building. Knights of Columbus. You gotta make it out there if you can. We have some good things lined up, man. Very exciting things.
But I know I will do my best to make it out there for the Jersey shows there, Mr. Jimmy J. And I'm glad you were. I know my time's winding down, and it was a pleasure to be on your show and be part of the 5 minutes with the fans. And
dude, listen, anytime, I got my own channel as well. We can talk off the air. Anytime, you're more than welcome to jump on that as well. We can chat about pro wrestling. Without the fans, the bottom line is we have no company, like most of these companies. You guys are the heart. Joe, I want you to let everybody know where they can follow you right now on social media.
On Instagram, you could follow me at the Joey Sweet Cheeks. On Twitter, J Sweet Cheeks 1. And if you want to follow me on Facebook, add a friend request. Just look me up, Joe Carson. You'll find me.
Joe, why Sweet Cheeks?
That actually started because my friend Giuseppe DeCaro is an indie wrestling referee. And I was joking around with somebody at work that if I had teamed with him, I would have been Joey Sweets. I know him as Joey Meatballs. And we would have been the tag team of Swedish, SWEETISH, Swedish Meatballs. And then I just started out as Joey Sweets. And one of the ladies at work started calling me Sweets. And she needed me to help her with something. And she just went right past Sweets to, yo, Sweet Cheeks, get over here and help me. And then Sweet Cheeks just stuck.
Oh,
and it's been Sweet Cheeks since 2017.
Oh man, and it's still going, baby. Joey,
3 years later.
4 years, we're going. We're gonna go with this the rest of your life. That's it. It's on you. It's 100% you now. That's it. Joey Sweet Cheeks. Joe, thank you very much for jumping on 5 minutes of fate with the faithful. I'll see you soon, buddy. Hopefully this clears up very soon. We can get to those watch parties and have a great time.
All right. Good to see you there, Jimmy J.
Have a
good night.
Take it easy, Joe.
The family stay safe.
Likewise, brother. God bless.
All right.
Always fun talking to Joey Sweet Cheeks. Joe, thank you very much. And if anyone out there wants to be on the Curtain Call, all you have to do is email me, jimmyjentertainment@gmail.com. Provide me with your name. I'm going to make a schedule, and I will email you back and let you know when you will be coming on the show. Thank you, Joe, once again. Thank you. Big thanks to Riley Shepard. Incredible interview. And folks, this is only the beginning because next week we return back to Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. with Public Enemy #1, TJ Marconi. This is a shoot interview. You're not going to want to miss it. I promise. This is a story that we have to tell, folks. And as the curtain comes down, fans, faithful, I want to remind you that BCW, Free Combination Wrestling, is where the future lives.